Hello, beautiful friends and family, and welcome back to another episode of Meaningful Moments with May. This is a space where we get to realign, recalibrate, and reconnect with what truly matters so that you can create a life that feels more meaningful, more intentional, and more aligned with who you truly are. And I'm your host, Mai Calev, and I'm so happy and grateful that you're here with me today. In our last episode, we talked about the courage to be seen. Today's meaningful moment is one that touches nearly every one of us. We're talking about healing the fear of judgment. Have you ever stopped yourself from speaking up because you were worried about what others might think? Have you ever hidden parts of yourself, delayed a decision, avoided an opportunity, or held back your truth because you feared criticism, rejection, or disapproval? If so, you're not alone. You see, the fear of judgment is one of the most common fears we carry, and yet most of us don't realize how much power it has over our everyday choices. Today, we're going to explore where this fear comes from, why it feels so intense, and how we can begin freeing ourselves from the need for approval so we can live more authentically and more courageously. Let's take a deep, grounding breath together. I'm going to kick this episode off with one question. Why does the fear of judgment feel so powerful? As human beings, we are wired for connection. From the very beginning of our lives, belonging meant survival. Being accepted by our family, our community, and our tribe wasn't simply emotional, it was essential. Acceptance is ingrained in the energetic cellular structures of our bodies. So our nervous systems become highly attuned to signs of approval and disapproval. The challenge that many of us have is that we grew up in environments where acceptance felt conditional. Maybe you were praised when you achieved something, praised when you behaved well, praised when you met expectations, but criticized when you made mistakes. Questioned when you expressed strong emotions, or corrected when you were different. So over time, you may have learned if I want to be accepted, I need to be careful. If I want to belong, I need to be who others expect me to be. If people judge me, something must be wrong with me. And so the fear of judgment becomes deeply intertwined in our sense of safety. So there's a real hidden cost in seeking approval from the outside world. And most people don't realize how much energy they spend managing other people's expectations and perceptions. We think about what to say, how to say it, whether someone will agree, whether someone might get upset, whether someone might misunderstand us. And before we know it, we're living our lives through the lens of other people's opinions and expectations. The problem is that approval is a moving target. No matter what you do, someone is going to have an opinion. Someone will disagree. Someone will misunderstand. And sadly, someone will judge you. And when our peace depends on universal approval, we end up trapped, not by other people, but by our own fear of their reactions. So I want to talk about the truth of judgment. And here's something that changed my life. People's judgments often tell us more about them than they do about us. Judgment is filtered through personal experiences, beliefs, wounds, values, expectations, and other biases. Two people can witness the exact same situation and have completely different opinions about it. Why? Because they're seeing it through their own lens. Yet many of us treat every judgment as if it were an objective truth. Someone disagrees with us and we assume we're wrong. Someone criticizes us and we question our worth. Someone doesn't understand us and we shrink and play small. But another person's opinion is not the ultimate authority on who you are. So why do we take judgment so personally? Often judgment hurts because it touches an existing wound. If you're already worried that you're not enough, criticism feels devastating. If you already fear rejection, disapproval feels threatening. If you already doubt yourself, someone else's opinion can feel like proof. The pain isn't always the judgment itself. It's the story we attach to it, whether we're aware of that story or not. So the healing begins when we learn to separate what someone thinks from who I am. Those are not the same thing. So how do we heal the fear of judgment? Healing the fear of judgment doesn't mean you'll never care what anyone thinks. You're human. Connections matter. Relationships matter. Community matters. The goal isn't becoming indifferent. The goal is becoming grounded. Grounded enough that someone else's opinion doesn't disconnect you from yourself. So here are some ways you can begin to heal your fear of judgment. First, get curious about the fear. Ask yourself, what am I afraid people will think? What would that mean about me? And here's a key question. What am I making their judgment about me mean? Awareness is where healing begins. Second, strengthen self-approval. Many of us spend our lives seeking external validation while neglecting internal validation. Practice asking yourself, do I approve of my choices? Am I living according to my values? Am I proud of how I'm showing up? The more you trust yourself, the less you depend on, you don't depend on it anymore, the more self-assured you are. And third, allow people their opinions. This one is powerful. People are allowed to have opinions, even about you, about me. Their opinions belong to them, though. Have you heard that saying, what you think of me is none of my business? That's sort of what I'm referring to here. Your life belongs to you. My life belongs to me. Neither one of us need to manage every perception or expectation from outside of us. You do not need to convince everyone, and you do not need to a universal agreement to be worthy. Fourth, practice showing up anyway. And as I shared in the last episode, the courage to be seen, courage isn't waiting until fear disappears, because fears will come. Courage is choosing authenticity while fear is present. Speak up, share your idea, set the boundary, wear the thing, start the business, apply for the opportunity, say what you mean and mean what you say. Not because you're fearless, but because your truth matters more than your fear. So there's real freedom on the other side. When you begin healing the fear of judgment, something extraordinary happens. You stop abandoning yourself to gain acceptance from others. You stop shrinking to make others comfortable. You stop living according to expectations that were never yours in the first place. You begin feeling lighter, more confident, more authentic, and free. Not because no one judges you, but because you've stopped allowing judgment to determine your worth. So let's take a moment here for reflection. We're going to take a slow, deep, grounding breath in with me, in through the nose, and slowly exhale through your mouth as if you're blowing out a straw. And if you can do so and you feel safe to do so, just place your hand on your heart. It can be either hand, it could be both hands, it doesn't really matter which one. And gently ask yourself these questions. Where am I allowing fear of judgment to hold me back? What truths have I been afraid to express? Whose approval am I still seeking? And what would I do if I trusted myself more than I feared other people's opinions? Just notice what arises. No fixing, there's no forcing, just listening, and honor what comes up for you. And one final thought on the energetics of judgment. I have noticed in myself and others that those of us who hold on to the fear of being judged often judge others too. It's okay to discern situations whether someone's energy aligns with yours or if you feel safe, but it's never okay to judge others, especially without knowing their journey. And if you don't instantly feel the truth of this observation, here's a little something you can sit with to test it out. Every time you find yourself in judgment of someone else, if you're brave enough to admit that to yourself, that you're judging someone else, Push the pause button and simply say to yourself, I don't judge others. That's it. It's nothing earth-shattering, but with consistency over time, you'll see how releasing your own judgment energy strengthens your balance to feel less concerned about being judged by others. So as we bring this episode to a close today, I want to remind you of something important. You were never meant to live your life as a performance. You were never meant to spend your precious energy trying to earn worthiness through approval. And your value is not determined by how many people understand you, or how many agree with you, or approve of you. Your value is inherent. And the more you trust that truth, the less power judgment has over you and your life. So thank you for spending this meaningful moment with me today. And if this episode spoke to your heart, share it with someone who may be carrying the weight of other people's opinions. And please don't forget to like this video and subscribe to this channel so others may find meaning in these moments too. And until next time, remember to realign with your truth. Recalibrate with what truly matters to you. And reconnect with yourself. Because a meaningful life begins within. Bye for now.